Well, good day, mateys. The Dharma meditation tour continues here in Australia. A little bit of an update. We've been the three of us, two Australians and me, a former American and now a schizophrenic homeless beggar. We've been going through the bush, driving the past 2 days to arrive deeper into the bush at an Aboriginal campout. We're not there yet. We've got another 5 hours or so that's going to take place tomorrow morning. We woke up and started driving. We picked up some groceries, just a few things. I'm not much of a grocery person, but we picked up a few things, especially to offer for the Aboriginals when we arrived there. We're here at the campout, going to be roughing it tonight. I chipped my tooth, so I see this. This was a cavity that I had filled before, and I was eating some nuts, and I started to chew on something that was really hard, like a tooth. I think I've got it here, actually. And it's another good reason to get over to Vietnam soon, because that's where my dentist is. And let's see if I got my tooth part in here. Let's see. Yeah, this is it. This is the part of the tooth here that broke out. So all the more reason to get on my way, but we're still on the journey here in Australia, living and learning. And so we're gonna get ready to have a place to rest and stay warm and stay protected. Doesn't look like it's going to be raining tonight. There's a quality or an aspect of this hardcore spirituality where very unknown and very open, and a lot of, there's a great master. This quote always comes up for me when sharing with the community, is Zen Master Sungsan, Korean Zen master, who said, "Only don't know, just go straight." And in that way, in that modality of only not knowing and just going straight, it's quite confusing. What's going on? Why are we here? Why am I here in Australia? Why are my travel friends here doing this? What's going on? And everybody's got to do their part to keep their heart beating and keep warm. And really, this, like life, is, and that saying of only don't know, just go straight, is something that exists within the Buddhist context of everything is an opportunity to do good deeds more and more, with awareness and without attachment. And if we have that intentionality, then staying alive and making sure that we have all of our basic needs met is very important, because otherwise we're not going to be able to keep doing good deeds and hopefully get to the enlightenment. Did you find anything?
Toilets over there, showers over there.
Toilet and shower. Great.
Is there a camp kitchen?
I didn't suss out a camp kitchen, but there's a fireplace right here. That was the for the fire.
No.
Camp kitchen might be around.
One of the most important things to consider is that you really just can't go around listening to what people say or getting pulled into stories or narratives or emotions or complications. We, at least in the Buddhist framework of hardcore spirituality, we take refuge in the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. That means taking refuge possibly in your teacher, but especially taking refuge in the willingness to give. The willingness to give is really more in line with letting go than just this vague idea of letting go or not thinking. It's to give your life, to give what is valuable to you, to give what you hold on to. There's nothing ideal about it. This trip has been the best of times and the worst of times, and that's kind of what makes it so informative, so developing. So get ready for a cold night, and I'm happy to have everybody here. Thank you for the offering, T-Power.
I can offer you a tent and a nice little comfy mattress. If you're interested, I'm gonna swag.
All right,
Yeah?
sounds good.
Do you want me to set it up?
Sure.
Happy to.
In a certain way, the spiritual path is almost like finding out that we all have cancer. Even when I chipped my tooth earlier, it was a little bit of a life and death moment, because there's this idea, that this body is supposed to be healthy. This body is supposed to be taken care of, or, um, you know, to continue. But this body is, and I remarked to one of my friends online, I said, we're just corpses. We're just rotting corpses. And, realizing your death, your end, the loss of everything that you have is so essential to waking up, or to seeing through the veil of self, the veil of ego, the veil of duality. And a very important aspect of that as well is not to be stingy. Watch out for stinginess. Watch out for that want to maintain and to hold and to conserve, because what are you conserving? You're conserving and perpetuating the idea of yourself that's in control, it's able to manage. And here, the instruction, the guidance is to replace all of that, to control, to manage all of that with just this willingness to surrender and to help and to give, no matter what. Because we're taking ourselves very seriously. We're taking our egos very seriously. But that ability to take ourselves or our egos seriously is actually stemming from conditionality rather than an actual capacity to control conditions. So once you start to get outside of the bounds of the conditionality that you're familiar with, which everyone will have to go through that and experience that, sickness, old age, death of yourself or a loved one, there's this realization of not being in control. And then that habit energy or that momentum of controlling creates all this emotional discombobulation that we then have to be very careful not to harm ourselves with or get lost in. We are very, very vulnerable. And that vulnerability is what makes us human. And it's also what gives us the chance to be powerful. And the wonderful and beautiful idea, and perhaps a part of the operating praxis of this retreat or these happenings, or the way that I see fit to live my life, is actually a natural meditation. A meditation that doesn't set up rites and rituals or structures, but actually exploits the structurelessness of life as it is continuously. So, your whole life, my whole life is a meditation retreat. Our lives are there to be made use of, to be free, to regulate our emotions, and to stop justifying our suffering. Just in the same way that we justify our selfishness, our self-fixatedness. one of these things that we really have to watch out for is our willingness to be afflicted, our willingness to hold on to suffering, our willingness to hold on to our depression, our anxiety, our fear, our complicated thinking, because I've seen for myself, I've seen from my own experience, this is always changing, this is always shifting. That experience of being afflicted, or even that experience of feeling happy. And so remembering the impermanence of that experience eventually, I think, will help you to actually see the impermanence of this self-entity that you are believing in, that you are identifying as.
Ja, das ist ja.
We have to really emphasize ignoring. But this isn't like an ignoring so that you can get back to, watching videos on YouTube, or getting back to your addiction, or avoiding, kind of avoiding what's there so that you can keep being in this state of just zoned out. But we have to see through appearances. We have to say, that's not what this is about. If we don't know how to say that that is not what my life is about, then we will constantly be feeding that, or we'll constantly be fighting with that. Just making the declaration that that is not what my life is about, that that's not what I'm concerned with, that that's not what I'm investing in, that that's not my business. And slowly but surely we can actually learn to apply that to our own thoughts. These thoughts that we consider that we own or that we possess, that even our own thoughts aren't our own business. Just thoughts, just happenings, just unexplainable cause and effect, unfathomable cause and effect, unfathomable appearances coming and going, so that we can maybe identify as awareness and then be willing and able to listen, to share, to practice, to give up whatever we're holding on to if that's not in line with being free. You said the toilet's over there, Aditya?
Yeah, just that way.
Okay. So by all metrics, by all measurements, you know, this trip or this retreat is not what I expected it would be. But from the view of awareness, or from the view of not someone, from the view of not somewhere, it couldn't be more right on the money. My friend Aditya here, he's kind of been talking a lot about how on the edge this seems to be. See a little bit of Australia. But if we don't get onto the edge, if we don't stay on the edge, if we don't have a relationship with the edge, we're never going to fall off. And this is precisely about falling off the edge of our script, falling off the edge of our worldview, falling off the edge of our attachment to our emotions. And our is really a better word, because you possessing your emotions is just kind of ridiculous. You are a part of a community. You know, we are a community. These are our emotions. But when we isolate ourselves and all we do is consume and hoard money and hoard possessions and hoard this sense of control, we don't really get to experience how interconnected all of our sufferings and all of our emotions are. So this is a very intense retreat, a very intense trip. And I've been kind of having to look at myself a lot in my role as being a teacher or whatever the heck I am. Some kind of scamming, schizophrenic, homeless, beggar, bum. Probably the most apt way to describe it, but I'm dealing with that. Just how vulnerable we are. And how little context most people have for being nowhere, for being no one. Not having an established plan. Not having an established identity. So, thinking a lot about my teacher. Oh, we got a fridge and a kitchen here too. You know, and being in this position of a teacher and a leader, it's a lot of responsibility. And I don't really know what's the right thing to do. Because for me, this teaching or this way has nothing to do with right or wrong. And it has nothing to do with someone. And you can say that, but to embody that, and to embody that for others and with others and trying to help others embody that, is very, very subtle work. So this is an incredible kind of learning experience for me. And I say the thing about being a schizophrenic, homeless, beggar, scam artist, well, certainly not much of a cult leader, but because, you know, even if that was the case, even if that is the case, you know, like being a gay schizophrenic retard, or, you know, well, that's okay. Because that's a starting point for being more aware and not holding on to appearances, and being willing to give and willing to communicate and willing to restart and refresh. So whatever it is, ultimately, it better be okay. It has to be okay. Whatever it is, so that you can be aware of it. Because if you can't be aware of it, you certainly can't let go of it. And then we get to, you know, coming to this place of, well, wait a minute, how about know you? And then how do we relate to the messenger of know you that isn't really there? I remember there was a talk I listened to by, I think it's Rupert Spira, and he was sitting in front of, you know, some big hall with a bunch of, because he's written a bunch of books. He was sitting in front of some big hall, and a, you know, clear, pristine glass of water next to him, and, you know, 20, 30, 40 wealthy patrons, you know, everybody paid to be there and buys his books and stuff. And he was saying, you know, and of course there's all this distance between them because there's all this contrivance and context and structure that people kind of, they put people in, and then you get to sit in the front to keep these boundaries. And he said, you know, your spiritual teacher is your final misapprehension or your final illusion. And that's making a little bit more sense to me as I lead this this meditation tour, much to my own chagrin. I'll tell you what, though, these caravan parks out here in Australia are plush. They know how to do caravan parks in Australia. And this experience for me of, you know, I don't want to aggrandize it in any way. I'm just here like anybody else is here, but kind of taking on responsibility for the others and just being vulnerable and exposed with the others. It's really otherworldly. And there's almost this constant sense of danger because we all come from different tribes. You know, Aditya is a young man from Sydney. Lee is an older woman from Australia. And neither of them really have much experience with Buddhism. And I've said, you know, I'm kind of a lunatic, but getting by all right so far. yeah, the bond between a student of a teacher. But how I just, I don't want to be the teacher. I just see that as a model. It's a working model for communication. And then it's like, well, okay, maybe I'm too lazy, but I'll turn up my, teacher modality to 100, and then, I'm organizing and leading and doing all this, but it's probably just my own laziness. But we don't have much of a context for that as Westerners, not taking on the robes, not leaning fully into the identity of Buddhism and monasticism and all that structure. But just as Westerners, there's not much context for a student teacher when it comes to spirituality or meditation. We really don't even know what that means. It doesn't have anything, there's nothing that exists like that in our culture, even elders. So I found the kitchen.
I found it. Yeah.
Yeah. You want to cook something up or
Yeah.
some eggs or something?
Yeah. There's some pasta as well.
All right.
When you're ready.
So we got Lee's camp out, Aditya's camp out, and my camp out. Well, Lee set it up for me. Well, this is one of the things that we kind of ran into out here because we're doing it so all natural, and definitely a big part is my own faults and inadequacies more than anybody else. But we're just getting into a position of, you know. Oh, good day, mate. Thank you very much. I love your truck. I love your hair. All right.
And we're all matching.
Yeah, enjoy. We're all kind of getting to a point where none of us really want to be here. And, I'm not a Buddhist monk. I'm not much of a guru. I'm not much of a leader in certain ways, certainly not in the Australian bush. So, And what are we really doing here, and why are we going out here into the bush? Why are we going into the direction that we're going? And that why is kind of a big question. And when that why comes back to not knowing, or that why comes back to, well, it has something to do with enlightenment, that's tough. That's probably one of my better qualities, that I don't necessarily want to be a leader in a traditional sense. I certainly want to be supported, but I don't necessarily want to be controlling what other people do. Really, I want to have as little to do with the direction of what's happening, other than just, being a meditation teacher, not thinking, as possible. But then why wouldn't everyone want that position? Wouldn't that be the most ideal position for everybody? And then we're just sitting there with nowhere to go and nothing to do, and maybe that's the point. We were talking about it today with, I was sharing about when, following my teacher and joining with my teacher, how there's so much momentum. And because my teacher is very beloved and worshipped, and he's been doing this for 20 plus years. So joining with that, it's like you can't help but be overwhelmed by the context, the Buddhist context, the guru context, the monks and nuns context, and you're just in the flow no matter what. And then you kind of want to participate, you want to help, you want to get involved in some way, because everybody, there's all these other people that are involved, and you want to have something to do too. But here, we don't really have any of that. It's just being at the edge. And waiting to fall off, or willing to fall off. But I have a big problem with authority. I'm very anti-authority, so the last thing that I want to do is be an authority figure. You got that knife? I did use the knife holder. Thank you. Did you take the antihistamine?
It's working.
It's working. You feel it, huh?
I feel it, yeah.
Great.
I can move my finger a bit more. If you're hungry, we can cook something up now.
Sure.
I'm just thinking if we take the whole esky or just take whatever we're cooking.
What do you want to cook?
I'm easy. I mean, I can survive on eggs and bread, but
I'm trying to lose weight, so I'm just whatever's okay.
You want this?
No, but if you want to cook it, it's all right.
But if I cook it, will you eat it?
Maybe.
Because I don't wanna open it because then it might spoil because I won't cook the whole thing.
Maybe just make some eggs and some bread.
Alright. You don't want your kangaroo meat tonight? I don't know how to cook that well because I've never done that, but
I think we should save it for the Aboriginals. They'll probably get a kick out of that.
okay.
This is a whole beetroot, peeled, cooked, and ready to eat. This is the kind of stuff I really like. Beetroot and blueberries and olives. Eggs and bread and butter. That's you're cooking if you got that. Shame for the male chicks though. I think so, Sonia. I think that's very true, and there's something in me that's anti-authoritarian and is also kind of in a certain way aggressive towards context or anti-context. But maybe that's just, my luxury or my privilege to have a contextualist view. But is that even real? Now it's just another view to claim. So
Can you just hold these and I think we're good to go?
salt and pepper. And then what else comes into it is just the human element. Just being a human being, just being a good human being, and trying to help where you can, and be okay with what you can be with. And then that we can always sit down and talk about it and communicate about it. But I can see organizing the retreat, so you've just got this group of people that are willing to pay money, and you've got this group of people that are, sometimes volunteer or willing to be paid money and then do all of the structural activities. And then you just got the teacher and you practice together. I can 100% see why they have to do it that way, because the moment that everything's just being done freely or according to each individual's willingness, it really gets, it gets delicate. But I think that's the most natural way to do it. most authentic way to do it. The most accessible and the most vulnerable as well. So but in the West, we don't really even believe in merit. We don't have that concept of when you do good things, when you do actions of generosity, you get blessed. Like you're making blessings. So when we don't have that, everything's contractual, everything's transactional. The moment that you do something, you're first wondering, why am I doing that? And then secondly, you're wondering, what am I going to get back from doing that? And then thirdly, you're wondering, and how does that relate to what other people are doing or what they're not doing? And even in the Buddhism, I mean, everybody, all human beings have that, but I think as a Westerner, that's all we have. We don't really have the concept or the notion of merit making. So much. Making bun. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I hope that's the case. I hope I'm a real practitioner, but what even is that? You know, that itself is just a gimmick. So, and I'm not saying that to put on, you know, really, who the hell am I to say that I've got the juice or that I don't? I've got no idea. Certainly suffer, but Seattle also seems like he suffers. And I don't think Ajahn Brahm would be having a good time if he was doing what Seattle was doing. Maybe they wouldn't suffer, they'd just be whinging or just be pain, you know? What's the difference between that? It's supposed to be some difference between the second arrow, right? And then you add now to the formula, and then you've got a whole revolutionary view that's super out there and weird. And then how does that restructure, you know, the psychological view and also the social view, especially when it comes to, you know, real people, real situations, real goings on. I swear I just discovered the kitchen. Aditya. Oh, okay, I walked right by it, huh? That's a sure sign that I'm non-dual, right?
Yeah.
And it's a very confusing situation for everybody on board. Well, I think they're more tuned into their responsibility than I am. In that way, they more know what they're doing than I do. Which they should. They're 30 years older than me, 20 years older, whatever. So, or Ajahn Brahm's like 80 or something. Because there's a lot of things that just don't need to be said, but this is kind of, the experimental zone, and I think the intention is ultimately good. It's a different generation as well. This is generation. Ajahn Brahm was second wave, or first wave even. So this is third wave, whatever it is. The quest of ending suffering. Well, they say a lot of things. Like they say that the quest of ending suffering is all about realizing that suffering is nibbana. And then for me, what really interests me about Buddhist path or spiritual path is like the enlightenment, especially with Buddhism. And looking at Theravada, like the 4 stages of enlightenment. So Sotapanna, Sakyagami, Anagami, Arahat. And the most that I've really heard monks talk openly about that is like Ajahn Sumedho, talking about nobody gets enlightened. No, there's no monk that can become a Sotapanna, etc. So for me, it's really, like I've said before in the past, it's a consistency of concern with not thinking, and the Dhamma and the Buddha and the Sangha. And I know it's contrite. There's something icky about saying it that way, but there is something to be said about this institute in this way as a path. When it comes to, or as a principle, when it comes to the practice, of course, the Buddha is your big toe, and the Dhamma is the sound of the bird, and the Sangha is everywhere, right? But we also have to have a principle, and then we have to take responsibility. So it's like you have to take responsibility for your involvement with me. As much as I have to take responsibility for my involvement with you. But most of your involvement with me is you, or your sided, because I can't see you, I can't hear you. I'm not as with you as you are with me in that sense. And so that's also what I think it is. It's taking on more responsibility. And after you get some insight, or after you get some wisdom, yeah, it should be easier, shouldn't it? It should be more convenient, shouldn't it? So you have to be open to putting forth a lot of effort and taking responsibility for your path. You can't blame anyone else for anything that you do. You can't blame anyone else for how you feel. You can't blame anyone else for the actions that you take. 5 precepts, remember? And eventually, hopefully, you know, I'll do more, you know, to help. But my disposition is very raw. I've got kind of an autistic, schizophrenic disposition. So I'm just trying to put the baby in the bath water and let the baby clean itself and go from there. Yeah, you have to write it down, you have to look into it, you have to study it, and then you have to ask for help. You have to say, look, I've looked into this, I've looked into it. What do you think the next step is? You're the baby, Theodore. We got some eggs and some bread. We have oil, that's the question. Do we have pots and pans? I don't see any pots and pans. Maybe try this way? You don't have any pots and pans, do you, Lee?
I do.
Oh, okay. Maybe we'll bring one. We're gonna make some eggs. Some bregs and eggs.
Okay.
I haven't experienced that, you know, maybe for me, if I had $1 million or something, my life would be great. But what they say, and certainly what I've experienced, is that nothing ultimately works. And I've liked to use the phone analogy in the past. Like, let's say you really want a new phone, you really want the new iPhone or whatever, and you have an iPhone from a couple of generations back or whatever. So there's all this heat, there's all this excitement, there's all this drive, there's all this wanting to get the new iPhone, and there's this kind of message inside of yourself that says, this is gonna really get me off, this is really gonna get me going. And then, right? And then you get the new iPhone and it becomes just the phone. So I think when people talk about having a lot of money or going to another place or whatever, from like a general, unenlightened, untrained disposition, then when you get to that other place, it just becomes the same place that you already were with just a different appearance. Because what you're really trying to change, what you're really trying to make better, is the quality of your own mind. And it doesn't matter what the outside is, as you become an adult, as you become, you know, free thinking and free deciding and this kind of thing, it ultimately doesn't matter what the environment is. It matters the way that your mind is, or the habits of the environment don't matter as much as the habits of your own mind. And of course, there's some extreme cases. You know, like they say for the monks, they need the basic necessities. They need shelter and robe and food. So we all need that, right? And I would say that means, you know, shelter where you're not being abused or horrible things aren't happening, etc. So I would say I would like to have $1 million. But if I did, I think I would generally have the same problems or the same general suffering internally that I already do. I might be more equipped to distract myself from that internal suffering for a period of time, but eventually those material conditions would become normal to me, and then that underlying suffering would be as prevalent as it was before. And a good reflection that I have on the outside appearances and worrying about, outside appearances, it's just based on worrying about other people. It's based in believing what other people think and believing what other people say. You can't just go wandering around and looking around and believing what people think and say. Those people are not you. They're not your tribe. They're not your community. They're not well-known advisors. There's no idea at all who they are. So for me, I'll friggin' walk with my head down. I'm not trying to look at anybody. I'm not trying to bring anybody in because it's got nothing to do with me. So when I'm really fit as a fiddle, I'm not going around, enlighten eyeing people. I'm keeping my vision closed and doing what it is that I have to do in that situation. I'm being one with myself. That's most important for me, is to be one with myself. Theodore says, how would you advise one to train the mind to grow in being disciplined? This is my position on it. I think you need to be connected with someone who has done practices like that and that's accessible to you and that's concerned with that. And I know that's so kind of cringe or taboo in a certain way to say you've got to make use of who's in front of you and you have to build relationships with people that are experienced in what you're interested in. But that is what you have to do. And then you have to take that as far as you can. But there's no idealism in it. I can tell you that me leaving my life behind and becoming a Buddhist monk for 7 years was very lacking in idealism. My life has been very lacking in idealism. So to really make a fundamental difference, from my perspective, from my side, you have to be willing to sacrifice your life and sacrifice your identity and sacrifice your personal control entirely. I just think that's one of the most reliable ways to make sure that you can get the best use of your possible blessings out of the current condition of you interacting with a former Buddhist monk or uh, being someone who would like to receive advice. Because if you can't be patient, if you can't listen, if you can't be open, then you can't really make use of the advice that's given to you unless that advice is based on your desire. You see what I'm saying? And the advice that I would give you is not based on your desire. It's actually antithetical to your desire. So it becomes platitudes when you don't have a accessible relationship with doing something that's not based in your desire or your control or your thinking. And I would say there's a great drought. There's a great lack of people who are equipped and accessible to talk about these things and to have conversations about these things that aren't behind a wall of contrivance. And for me, my dream come true. I actually tried this before a couple times where I would like call monks or I'd call like some teacher. And then you call them, and what I would want is I'd want it to be as if we were spontaneously meeting on the street and then this open connection was there, right? But usually it was very challenging. Like, why are you calling me? And maybe I can see too much of that in myself as well. But that's where the consistency and the continuousness of accessibility comes in. So at least it's on you. I've got people who are 32nd degree Masons that are kind of weird characters and, you know, say things but I'm still open, you know. I'm not trying to cut them off. I'm not saying that they can't have a piece of my pie. And the same goes for anybody. But you can't just expect that you're going to get it in the way that you want to get it. The more that you sacrifice yourself unto me or unto this experience, the more responsibility I have to give you good advice or to give you a good direction. But this idea that we're just going to spout off some teachings online, or someone's going to ask a question and then you say, well, you've got to follow the 5 precepts. I don't think that works. I don't think that that's realistic at all in terms of making use of your blessings. It can be a good thing to say. I'm not saying it's not a good thing to say, but I don't think that it's going to actually make an impact in your life as much as saying, hey, you know, this is the stuff that I'm concerned with. Maybe you can listen deeply, and maybe there's a connection that can be formed here that's not about creating a multi-level marketing scheme or listening to podcasters on YouTube. And I think that this is almost like a mixed form of like the influencer relationship and the teacher relationship or guru relationship, because as Westerners, we don't fucking know anything about meditation, and we don't have any experience with meditation masters or communities that are built on meditation and built on, you know, being concerned with enlightenment. So, you know, we've got to kind of build community in some way. And we build community through connection with each other, not through some kind of vague platitudes of mutual agreement. Because those are just flippant. Those just dissolve in nothing. And trust me, you're lucky you're not here. They're good. You can cook them up too. You can roast them. Yeah.
Ready to eat.
Cooked and ready to eat.
When I was walking, just like the day after I was trying to find, in the middle of the bush.
Really?
Yeah, I was just walking along and then
While we were like staying at your house.
Yeah, just like before we left.
It was meant to be.
Yeah, because I was like looking for that knife and couldn't find it. Huh. Someone really loved it because it's been sharpened and it's got initials on it, it's got engravings on it. Look, it's got like someone's going like that. They've engraved, see? They've engraved it. Baby.
What a unique knife.
Yeah, it's amazing. Usually I say, like, let nature ride, but that's ridiculous. I just have one problem at the top is because it's quite hot. So you have to kind of you burn your hand. Yeah.
Let's get some toilet paper.
I made you a dry desert lime tea. if you're
Alright.
interested.
What is it? Dry desert lime?
It's hot though. It's yeah. It just comes with the lime.
Is there caffeine in this? Dry desert lime?
Um, I'll have a look.
Not sure.
I don't think so.
Can I have some of this soy milk?
Please. There you go. Says carry fresh water back from the oasis. Bring to the caffeine free.
Is mine the same one?
No, you got the Earl Grey.
Yeah, we're in the Australian outback. We're in the bush on the way to meet the Aboriginals tomorrow. To make camp with the Aboriginals on the reserve. But it has been nice to be in the bush in the wide open. It's been really nice. Wide open skies. Well, I've been doing a little bit more research on the Aboriginals, and I'm very excited. And I actually saw an Aboriginal. They looked like an Aboriginal today outside the Woolworths, and I said, "G'day, mate," and we really smiled. It was a young Aboriginal woman, and we really had a good smile, good, authentic, heart-to-heart, mind-to-mind smile, and I really appreciated that. I really enjoyed that because I was thinking in my research about 60,000 years of lived culture and experience and life. And I mean, who could believe something like that, you know? And that's rich and that's deep, and I feel honored, you know, to get the chance to have some experience. I don't know how they generally feel about live streams or things like that, but maybe we'll be able to have a conversation and I got some kangaroo meat for them. And really, I recommend everybody, if you can, to be vegan. And research childism. So be vegan and research childism. That's what I recommend. Because veganism is based on speciesism, you know. Who wants me to do something real crazy, real wild? Let's take a vote. Who wants me to do something real crazy? What should I do? Yeah. What's more crazy than being unconditionally at peace with oneself in the here and now? I'll maybe put up here. Guided meditation. I fell asleep last night, you know, staying on those crusty couches in the car park was a little bit uncomfortable, but eventually I put on a guided meditation from Ajahn Brahm, and I fell asleep with Ajahn Brahm in my ear. So, you know, that's one of those good things you can always come back to and always rely on. What's the point of being live here? Sounds like there's something going on over there. you don't need to focus on doing it on your own. You know, doing it on your own is up to the Buddha. We don't have to do it on our own. We can take refuge in the community of mindfulness and detachment. I haven't really seen, we went to a Tibetan Buddhist center a couple days ago and listened to a Dharma talk. The monk was pretty great, but the talk was a little bit dry, and I just meditated. And my experience when I was meditating, you know, I was zoning in, I was focusing in, right, and focusing and being still, and a few different, you know, kind of experiences. But eventually I got to this point where it was just like this tangled up ball of concentration, this tangled up ball of suffering. And I could barely think. I mean, I could barely do anything besides just sitting there and facing that suffering. And I was hoping for that switch to flip, you know, and then the suffering would go away, but that didn't happen. But anyways, once the Dharma talk ended, we looked out the window. I looked out the window, and there's a bunch of little kangaroos jumping around. So. Yeah, yeah. I deserve to be kicked by a big kangaroo. I just hope I get it on video. Kicked in a safe, maybe kicked in the shoulder or the chest, and kind of fall back and laugh, not kicked and harmed. And not because I was disturbing the kangaroo, but just that kind of thing happening. It's all right. You don't need to think about it too much. I mean, know how to stop thinking about what you're thinking about, and know how to reflect on awareness or serenity or not being involved with anything in terms of meditation. It's okay, yeah.
Which one? You want butter or you want avocado?
Oh yeah, anything's okay.
Okay.
Anything's all right. So,
You reckon we should wrap? Or you reckon we should give it a day?
It's good. I found some lettuce in the garden.
And then Dr. Ross play it right now.
rootics. I don't know if I'd be ready for Iran, but I'd probably be open to Libya or something like that.
You want avocado on yours as well? Or do you just want butter? Yeah.
Yeah, Nepal for sure. I've been meaning to go up there to Pokhara. But it's been a long day. And only Lee can drive, so she's been driving all day. because the car is manual, so
Some water running.
well, thank you so much, mate.
Well, you don't have to spend some you feed yourself making the mind so good.
As much as you're willing to give, you have to be willing to receive, because that's a blessing to be able to help someone else and to offer to them. I'm not saying that I'm vegan, I'm saying that everybody should be vegan. Where did that even come from? Where did that idea that, like, you had to, where does that idea come from, right? That I have to be vegan to say that I believe or that I think that everybody should be vegan. What does that mean? I'm not joking around, I'm really being serious about that. And I'm not saying that I shouldn't be vegan, I'm saying that I should be vegan. Everyone should be vegan, including me. Because animals are people too. I don't believe in this Hippocrates guy. I don't like any of those people. Hippocrates. Who the hell is he to tell me what to do? Why does everybody believe in Hippocrates? Some gay philosophers from ancient Rome drinking wine, and you heard about what they used to do, those philosopher types in ancient Rome. And somehow he's supposed to be in charge of my life? We thought about opening up a merch store, but it never came to fruition. Give it time. If that's something that you want, you should do it. I'll support you. Hello from South Australia. Well, are we in South Australia?
Yep.
And we're headed to see the Aboriginals in South Australia.
Sorry, I got a bit messy.
Oh, it's beautiful. I love the colours.
No, Simon, I'm just saying I don't trust this Hippocrates guy. I don't believe in people that I don't know.
Awesome.
If I can't see him, if I can't hear him, if I can't feel him,
It's so.
and I don't feel Hippocrates.
Just pick one up. Like it feels amazing. It's just so full of life.
Taparoo? Are we in Taparoo?
I don't know where we are.
We don't know where we are.
You want exact location? Like suburb?
No, don't. They'll send the police. They'll send the coppers.
Okay, well,
We're nearby Kangaroo Island. Let's put it that way. Are there a bunch of kangaroos on Kangaroo Island?
never been. We're north of Adelaide, a couple hours.
Yeah, I know we're north of Adelaide.
Let me know how you like the beetroot. I actually quite like it.
Wow.
Children live without money, don't they? So in a sense, we've all lived without money, without controlling or using money personally.
Anyone want another slice of bread?
We're going to pay respect to the Aboriginals, I'm all right, and give them some offerings and spend some time learning about the native people of this land from the source. The Aboriginals that we're going to meet are, in fact, activists and elders of sorts. So well, more adults should be willing to take care of each other. We've all got a old person inside of us, just like we all got a baby inside of us.
Can you please put some water from the kettle in there? Don't blow it.
It's very cold. You
Is
sure?
it? Is it like really cold?
Go for a few seconds.
Thank you. Just hit a wall.
You hit a wall.
Yeah, you know when you just like sit down and then you just can't move. And you're
Is it bad?
I just.
Well, you've been running all day. Also, it's the crash after the V.
Yeah, crash. Yeah, totally. This is the best meal I've ever eaten in India. I think you should be a chef.
I'm glad you liked it.
That rice last night, I mean,
That was nothing.
that was so good. And then you
My
cooked,
first
you cooked
time.
breakfast this morning. You're the chef. You're amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm glad you liked it.
It's all the food groups.
Yeah, well, if I was at home, I'd be having smoothies every day.
Smoothie, yum.
Egg.
Do you put peanut butter in smoothies?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. So good.
Because I feel like I'm always trying to gain weight, in contrary to other people. So I'm just trying to shove it all in.
crazy stuff when I was in high school because I was vegan for a bit. I put like avocados in my smoothie
Oh, yeah.
because I never had a big appetite, but like it was easier to just drink something.
Liquid food.
Liquid, yeah. And then I wouldn't have to stress because I put all my daily vitamins in one smoothie.
I'm the same.
Yeah.
And with that juicer,
Oh,
I can just juice everything and I just drink the vegetables, you know? I don't have to cook it or anything.
yeah.
It's wonderful. Or I've got this powder that you can just mix in juice and it's like got like 1 million vegetables in it.
Oh, one of those. I know what you're
You know,
talking
the
about.
stuff that, I don't know what's it called, it's so good. Healthy for lazy people.
Not even. I think that's like something everyone should do.
So what's one thing both of you learned today? All of us, we'll all go.
I learned that there is joy that comes out of suffering.
Can you say a little bit more?
Yeah, well, I was trauma dumping onto Aditya while I was driving. I was in the zone, having a big, like, vitriolic vomit of my whole life. And Aditya was very wonderful about it all. And it made me listening to myself talk and say things and then things that your response, and then later when I heard Dr. Rob start live streaming and he was talking about self-fixating, and I just kind of realised that I was self-fixating, and then I went and watched the sunset, and while I was watching the sunset I felt like I felt joy in the suffering, which I didn't think was possible. I hadn't felt that before. Like it was in there. It was right in there. And that, it was like, it felt like my mind was like clear. Parts of it, not all of it, it felt like a little glimpse. So that's what I learned today.
Sounds pretty good.
And for myself, I think, like your little pep talk or teaching or group meeting we had earlier today.
That was a tough one.
Tough one. Almost went back to Sydney after that. But anyway, no, it was good because, like we hear this, I guess in the last month I would say I actually learned this new word, altruism, which now I understand means to be serving others selflessly. And, there's a tendency within me and probably a lot of people to have kind of this reluctancy to serve others because we have this notion of like we should all contribute equally. But that's not really the case, especially in these camping trips with everyone's different skill sets and versatility and, tools that they bring to the table. So it's important to, give whenever we can without expectation, without making it transactional, without thinking about who's doing what and all that. And like, this trip is really shitty, to be honest. Like it's really a lot of shittiness. It's not fun. Like maybe it's fun for people watching. Like I would love to watch this and think, wow, these guys are having a blast. Like I can't wait to join the next one. But it's really shitty. Like would I do it again? Probably not, But like some of the best parts that I can reflect on in the day, for example, is like making this meal. That gives me a lot of joy. And also buying the gifts for the elders and community members we're seeing tomorrow. Even though that's something small and only took 5 minutes of our day, it feels good to have done that. So, there's really something to what the Buddha teaches, what Dr. Rob teaches, what a lot of these monks teach about that selfless service. Because it kind of, for a brief moment, and we can't even explain logically why we do it, but for a brief moment it stops us from thinking chronically about me, I, what am I going to do about my problems, and for a moment we kind of sacrifice that. And yeah, that's felt good.
Okay, thank you, Aditya. Yeah, I think one of the things that I reflected upon today was just my own stinginess, and how my stinginess or my tendency to just focus on what I think that I should be offering can keep me from offering what might help at that moment. So that was good, and like Aditya, it felt very good. It was a good experience to shop for the elders and just to spend some money for the others, and to be considering and thinking about them, to share with them. And so yeah, that's my main takeaway. And then other than that, just being open to going with the flow, and never judging people based on my perceptions of them, is, I think, a big thing for my identity in my life, but also I see how useful that is practically, so that I don't have like this extra baggage to let go of when they actually share, or when I look at them from a different perspective, that how nice it would be if I wasn't carrying those perceptions or those ideas from the beginning, and was just with them as they are. Maybe it's too vulnerable, or too close, or too authentic in some ways, too sensitive to be seeing people as they are and not having an idea about them. But that's also something I picked up on today. I don't know if you two are willing to share a little bit more and just to say some words to the group, because I'm sure people are really interested to hear from y'all.
Anything in particular?
Probably just about the trip, and how, just about the trip in general, probably. I don't know. I'm gonna use the toilet.
Okay, about the trip in general.
I think it disconnected when I went to the toilet, but it's back now. So maybe you could just, it's funny how those things happen. So we're back now. He told a bunch of good stuff.
Well, I can't conjure it again. Did anyone miss what I said, or did everyone get it?
Everyone missed it. Because I took the hotspot to the toilet. But they said who picks the music also, so maybe that could be a starting point.
Oh, missed? Okay, let me say. Well, I was gonna say this trip has been really interesting. We've got, and I'm saying this all again, we've got 3 characters, me, Sydney, boy, young, a monk of 7 years. A former monk of 7 years. A professional clown, professional artist, former as well. 3 very random characters put together in this trap of just some kind of journey with no destination. And you know, it's very jarring to the nervous system, especially for me, because, you know, I like being at home, I like sleeping in my bed. You know, yesterday was actually the first time I ever slept in a tent in my life. So that was interesting. So it's this constant kind of like chronic feeling of being on edge. And, you know, it's inevitable to kind of start ruminating about our own like personal conflicts and personal bullshit and baggage, and from all of us, because we're all neurotic beings, no matter how spiritually evolved we are or not. You know, I'm sure that a lot of these monks and other Buddhist teachers that you look up to have degrees of their own neurosis that can manifest, and you know, this is a container that is like breeding that kind of environment. So, you know, I think for me, just like I said earlier, kind of like the overarching theme that I'm starting to kind of embody a bit more is that altruistic element of serving others. Because the more and more we do that, the less and less we keep ruminating about ourselves. And honestly, like in this entire shitty environment, the only times I feel good is when I've actually done something for someone else. Not really thinking about kind of the ROI on that like relationship or that situation, because if we're thinking about what am I going to get, am I going to get happy doing this, or am I going to get happy doing that, or is this person going to be generous to me after I give them some generosity, then it's very transactional. So there's a lot of nuances around that which I'm learning and understanding. And that advice of service to others might sound very cliche, and I kind of had this arrogant perspective of that's just very basic, you know, we learned that as kids, you know, why should I kind of really go into that? But as this trip progresses and as the shittiness progresses, that's kind of been the overarching compass for me at this point.
Also, I was just thinking, I just wanted to say, you know, so many people are getting benefit. You know, we're here, we're getting the most benefit because we're the most here. But a lot of people, even not even people who have followed for a long time, but just people who happen to be here and immediately get to tune into the energy of what's going on here, which is very unusual. So I try to keep that in mind. That's why I live stream so much. You share something, Lee?
Okay. Hello, everybody. I mainly choose the music because I have control issues, and no, well, I'm driving, and I think the person who's driving gets to, you know, pick the vibe, because when you're driving, you need to stay in the zone to keep things moving forward. You kind of, so for me, music, if there's a soundtrack, then I can do anything, go anywhere.
This one.
It's awesome. But I'm also learning to play to the room as well, which is usually I just get to play my own music, and so when there's other people around, you have to consider that. And then, you know, it's just a lesson in consideration and compassion, really, for how you, like what time of the day, how long people take to wake up. I'm a morning person. I wake up and I'm like awake, so
And tell everyone how you help everyone else wake up once you're awake. It's such a wonderful kind of wake up call, right?
Well,
It's really a
I
wake-up
woke
call.
Dr. Rob up this morning.
Singing.
Yeah, I
and
was singing. Which,
beautiful songs.
yeah, well, he yelled at me last time I sung the song,
It's
so
not
I
true,
was like,
no,
yeah, Crocodile Dundee.
Alleged.
Sorry.
It's alleged, but she
It's
never
all-
heard me yell at anyone because she had on noise cancelling headphones. So maybe it was just a bit of a lark, eh?
Yeah, well, anyway.
Who knows?
I just, you know, treat people how I think, you know, I would like to be woken up softly by someone singing a sweet song. Like, wouldn't that be nice? Like a child, you know? Like, I've woken many a child up, and I'm like a child. My inner child is very active, you know? So, like, I still sleep with my my teddy bear. Like I'm into that, you know. It's okay to stay in touch and to nurture your inner child. But as for the trip, I mean, we've had a couple of moments for me where I've, like today, where it's gotten so close to just being like turned around, you know, like, because I'm a bit of a, I don't know, I just get a bit overwhelmed and have anxiety and in the car, and it's also like contained within the car, and I have to get away and get some space and scream and meditate and embrace.
Scream?
Embrace.
You said scream?
Yeah, scream.
Because what we had a bit of a moment
We did.
in the car, and then you did some exercises, screaming exercises, right? In the public area. Aditya asked me. He said, "Is that Lee? Or what's going on?" He wasn't sure.
These guys are getting to know me, you know, because we're all trapped here together, and it's you know, I just sort of process things really quickly, you know, and let things out. That's why I kind of like this teaching, because that's how I feel that Dr. Rob does it too, like in a way, you know. I feel
Get it out, right?
yeah, just get it out and move on. So that's how I do it, and I kind of just have been not acting, I guess I am acting, but just being who I would be on my own anyway, but just there's people around. But it's very confronting having to face yourself who doesn't exist and sort of living. It's so unreal going from being a viewer like you guys behind watching, you know, in my life, just having it there to defrag or have a connection with someone. I've never followed anyone on YouTube before, but having that like therapeutic or whatever the fuck it is, I don't even know, but having, and then now it's like an episode of The Simpsons or something, you know, flip the script. So that's really I love it. It's so absurd and ridiculous. I was sort of reflecting on how absolutely, like when I was having a bit of a meltdown today, when we were just trying to, you know, get it together to move forward, follow the energy, the flow of the energy to get to where we, you know, we've already arrived anyway, so there's nowhere to go, there's nowhere to go. However, we are in this moment, and I mean, have car will travel. So yeah, it's really an exercise in just constantly getting over myself. Absolutely. It's a horror show. It's really, but I like it. It's hardcore. I'm a bit hardcore myself, so I couldn't handle some like soft teacher that's all, you know, kind of, I mean, they have to be kind and compassionate, but this is next level. And everyone, I remember thinking before I met Dr. Rob, I was like, you know, is he enlightened? And I heard people talking about, is he enlightened? And I didn't even know what enlightenment was, really, until like 4 months ago. So, and who am I to say if someone is or not? All I can say is that, yes, I do have that experience of having my energy raised to a level, thanks, where it can be like have some kind of weird I don't know, it helps to have someone of a higher energy around. I've been around gurus before in India, but not like this. This is next level for me, because it's here, it's right here and now. So it's pretty intense, but I recommend it. You know, go outside of your comfort zone, because you know, that's where the learning happens. That's where the joy comes from, the absolute, utter sorrow and pain and suffering. It's good for you. So, yeah.
Aditya, where are you from in India? It's
Kerala,
Kerala.
is where my ancestors are from.
Yeah, Kerala. Someone was asking.
I've been there too. It's funny
Yeah.
because when I met Aditya,
I'm Tamil.
he's Tamil, and I went to Tamil Nadu and spent 4 weeks there. Not going on a Kundalini sex retreat or, yoga, but I went there and did humanitarian work and was a part of the largest clown contingency that's ever been to India at that time.
The largest clown contingency.
Yeah, in 2012 that had ever been to India, a group called Humanitarian Clowns Abroad, and we went to 47 different organizations and did such amazing, we did the work, but they worked with us. We also had local Indian people that we trained up and put red noses on, and every day we went out and into the streets, and I went to leper colonies and worked with children that had AIDS, worked with freed sex, trafficked intergenerational people, and I was sort of talking a little bit about it today when I was talking to Aditya, excuse me, and I was just saying how I have a lot of compassion and empathy because of the somewhat traumatic events that have happened to me in my life, like my dad dying when I was 2, and then my bullshit, blah blah, death, people dying. It's horrible, qualified, but the compassion and the love that was given to me by these people that I held in my arms, and they one was a leper and he'd never been touched in his whole life, never once been touched. Can you imagine what that is? Can you even? And he gave me love. I had a God moment from him, not me. It was so, everyone has so much to give, and I'm just grateful to be here, and to be a part of this. So thank you to everyone. Thank you, Dr. Rob. Thank you, Aditya. And I'm thanking, my heart for being open.
Thank you, the ancestors of this land, for giving us the opportunity to be in the way as we are right now.
Yeah, definitely.
100% about the ancestors of this land, so we really got lucky in that way. We're blessed.
Yeah, well, I'm really looking forward to going back to Albury Creek. So I went there, I don't know how long ago it was, I'm a bit tired. It was 10 years ago. 10 years ago, where I met the love of my life at Albury Creek, and we had an amazing experience with elders there, and we built this big festival out of nothing, and all entertainers, professional entertainers came, and it was called Burnout, and it's kind of like burning seed. You in the middle of nowhere, it's like 300 kilometers to the nearest shop, but you could see the lights of Roxby Downs. If anyone knows what Roxby Downs is in the distance, that's where they process the mining ore, which is raping and pillaging and stealing hundreds of millions of megalitres of water from our artesian basin every single day to protest, my friend was protesting against that, and that's what they're still there doing, 10 years later, he's still there, aligning himself, he's on the front line and supporting Indige mob and traditional owners, and so, they are the land, so it will be, one thing today I was learning too, which I don't know if I've really got my heart or head around it yet, is when I was talking, I asked Dr. Rob about how do you how do you address someone dying, and or whether they're Indigenous or not, but in this case, an Indigenous person, and what was your answer?
You should to invite them to be there with you in the silence or in the presence, in the present, and then hold space with their presence in the present.
Yeah, which really, I said from a Buddhist perspective, because I'm not a Buddhist, and I'm interested in it. But that was just so, like, my heart, cracked open. And we were talking about nature as well, like the nature and that. It's been a big day, and yeah, I'm really tired. But the food really invigorated me, and
Are you finished?
yeah, I can't eat
Okay.
anymore. I'm
Alright.
just like exhausted. But anyway, that's all I got. I'm happy to listen now. I don't think I've got anything else.
Sure.
I'm sorry, I can't answer. I can't read that, and I'm not interested. I love you. I love you all. I'm interested in everything you have to say. It's all very valid.
Shelley said she needs to have her coffee before she is singing.
Oh, wow. Shelley, you don't get a choice. Sorry. I'd love to meet you, Shelley. I really would. Like, actually, of all the people in the community, I would love to connect, in the community. I feel like I have an affinity with you. Because look, we have an affinity. You and me, Shelley. Sisters. Well, we're all connected, but, I don't know, because I don't really reach out. But look at me, I reached out and got the big guy. So, you me.
All right. Thank you. You have anything else to share, Aditya? No?
No, that's all.
All right.
Thank you.
Aditya, do you know Malayalam?
No, I know Hindi.
Yeah, Aditya speaks Hindi.
I'm Tamil though. So my mother tongue is Tamil, but I don't know Tamil.
Remember I tried to call my friend in India before? I wanted him to talk with him, to meet him.
Is he tuning into the live streams?
Oh, no, he's pretty busy. He's pretty much, he lives on the edge in India, he's very busy with his working. But he's following my teacher and helping them with doing trips in India, and he's like a tour guide named Rana.
Have they started their first meditation facility in India?
Yeah, in Bodh Gaya. So one day I like to organize a retreat or traveling in India.
Nice.
Here he is. Good day, mate. Hello. Good day, matey. How you doing, Rana? He's a pure Indian young man, and he's Punjabi.
Oh, nice.
Right? You're Punjabi, right, Rana?
Yeah, Punjabi and Bihari too.
That's the best. Those are the best. That's the best combination. I want you to meet my friend. This is Aditya, who's Indian, but he's from Australia. He's from Kerala, but he speaks Hindi. So I wanted you to talk to him. Here.
Hey mate, how's it going?
Hindi.
Hello. Namaste sir. Robert.
कैसे हो आप?
अच्छा हूँ, आप कैसे हो?
मैं भी अच्छा हूँ. मेरा हिंदी इतना अच्छा नहीं है, but मैं बात कर सकता हूँ थोड़ा बहुत. Audio is not working.
केरला वाले तो मलयालम बोलते हैं ना ज़्यादातर.
Yeah, my mother tongue is Tamil, but it's complicated. I speak Hindi.
Nice to meet you, brother.
Nice to meet you. What was your name?
Rana Pratap.
Okay. My name's Aditya.
Aditya.
Yeah.
Oh, nice to meet you.
He's like Hanuman. You know Hanuman. Rana is like Hanuman. He's my
Okay.
Hanuman.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Kerala, brother. I like Kerala.
Okay.
Because, you know, Kerala have Ulapittu, one kind of rarest martial art all over the world, right? Martial
Oh,
art.
martial art. I also train martial arts. I know
Oh,
that martial
masala.
arts.
Masala tea or martial arts?
Martial arts.
Martial arts, really?
Sorry?
What is the real name of martial art of Kerala? Kalapittu?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. I haven't been to Kerala.
You never?
I was born in Sydney, in Australia, but my ancestors are from Kerala.
Ah, that's why.
Yeah.
Because I have listened so many things about the Kerala martial arts. It's very, how to say, the old martial art. You know, like
Yeah.
more old than
Some
China.
people say it's the first martial art. I've heard that as well.
Yeah, it's look very great. You know, like yeah, if I have time or if I get opportunity to go there, then I really want to learn the martial art.
Kalaria Peatu. Kalaria Peatu.
Yeah, because I already learned the karate. You know, the karate in our school and kho-kho, kabaddi. You know, the Indian games.
Yeah,
So
nice.
I would like to. Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah. Well, if you come to Australia, I train jiu-jitsu, so we can train together if you want.
Brother, going to Australia is very hard.
Okay. So
Yes.
right now you're helping the Sayado Automatara.
Yeah, right now I'm doing that with most of time whenever he in India. Look na. So I used to help him and do volunteering with him because he's a great master from Myanmar.
Yeah.
But you?
Yeah.
ठीक है तो
I've heard a lot from
Yeah.
Mr. Rob. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I think if you meditate with Master Shadow, then it's more, how to say, you have more opportunity to get enlightened. Not about the enlightened, you can get the wisdom. Enlightened is so far, but at least you can get the wisdom. That is the more important. I'm not a teaching brother, no, I'm just a practitioner. Okay, don't think.
And he very dangerous man. He very dangerous. He very dangerous man, Rana. Yeah. Very dangerous man.
No. ये ज़्यादा मुझसे ज़्यादा खतरनाक है भाई, बहुत ज़्यादा खतरनाक है।
Yeah.
ये थोड़ा हो जाता है, तो समझ रहे हैं।
मालूम है ये कितना खतरनाक है.
अमेरिका से है भाई इतना। He's from America.
और ये 50% पागल भी है.
But हाँ, लेकिन थोड़ा सा काम करता है, बहुत अच्छा भी है, और थोड़ा सा वो होता है उन लोग का अलग कल्चर ही ऐसा है। बोल नहीं, बता नहीं सकते। आप उनके करीब हो तो आपको समझ में आ रहा होगा। मैं तो उनसे मिला हूँ, 2 बार मिला हूँ, और खैर लंबे समय तो नहीं बोल सकता, लेकिन 10 दिन 15 दिन साथ में रहे, साथ में घूमे फिरे, तो पता है क्या बिहेवियर है। मूड स्विंग्स अचानक बदल जाना, तो ऐसा होता है। लेकिन आप कभी इंडिया आए हो कि नहीं?
Yeah, when I was very, very young. So I don't remember much.
Brother, I'm from Bihar, so you know I'm
Mahabodhi temple near Mahabodhi.
I just come here to go Mahabodhi to practice meditation 1 hour only. Then I come back. And now I got a call from Robert. That's why.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. So
Nice to meet you.
you're the teacher of martial art, right?
No. Beginner. I just started like a couple years ago. I'm learning.
Brother, I want to say you the one thing. I know Australia have more money than India, I know. But the real market is in India, brother. I think because nowadays the people are aware about martial art, about karate, and nowadays most of parents send their children to academy, but there is no academy. Only the little bit, there's some ceremony or some kind of function, so they have to practice to perform in the function, not for a real karate.
Yeah, we call that neck dojo.
Yeah, so need to need to be one academy or something like that to train, and then you can get more success in India than the Australia.
Okay.
I'm
I know what you're
I'm
saying.
not, I'm not like that, but I just want to say I'm just giving.
He's not like that. He's true. He's not like that. He's not like that. It's really true. He's such a good man.
Australia has already a different kind of mindset, but now India is kind of beginner for everyone. Like only the Zomato or many things, the startup. The startups grow in India.
Yeah.
But this is the right time to grow because everything you get free. Everything, internet, the people, the awareness, social media. So, if I have opportunity to work with, like in Bodhgaya, so many foreign people come. Every year, so many foreign people, the people from the Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, they arrive in Gaya, Bodhgaya. So it's more chances. And also the local ones. If you do in a big city or if you want to do in a small city, it's also more chances. Because in Australia, I don't think so many people interested in karate or some creative things. I know. Maybe they have because everyone just look for a study or look for the higher paying jobs or something like that.
Yeah.
So if you get a chance to come India, then try at least. You should try at least. And one thing in India, everyone is very friendly than Australia. Everyone friendly. It's easy to get connection, easy to get network.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I'm not a teacher, brother. Don't think like that. You are my older brother.
Yeah.
No, he's your. How old are you, Rana?
Actually, now I'm 18 by the officially, but unofficially 21. The India mindset to get a government job or something like that. So that's why my parents, my father was very, how to say, different mindset. So he lists my age in document. Only 2 years.
So how old were you when you started school? When you started kindy, how old were you?
Like in the school, I am like officially by the document.
Yeah, of your real birthday, how old were you when you started kindy?
Kindergarten.
Hindi?
The
Kindy,
youth school. First grade.
First grade.
First grade. That time, maybe 8-year-old.
So your real age is 21.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand.
Because grade 1 is different. Now it's pre-nursery, nursery, kindergarten, upper kindergarten.
But most people in grade 1 are 5 years old, right?
Yeah, in government school. But I from CBSE, the private school. So when I'm 6 or 5-year-old, that time I am nursery, then kindergarten, then upper kindergarten, like LKG, UKG, then grade 1. It takes 3 or 4 years to go first grade.
Okay.
That's the problem here. Yeah. But now I'm intermediate, next year in university.
Okay. All the best with that. All the best with your help, for your volunteering. And if I come to India, I'll come visit you in Bodh Gaya.
We will both come. We will both
We'll
come
both
soon.
come.
We will come soon, Rana. Okay, we're waiting for you in Australia.
Oh my God, are you joking with me?
Well, you're only 18 anyway, so give it some time, eh?
Yeah. Now I'm trying to make a passport.
All right. Good idea, mate. Okay, good boy, Rana.
Okay. Take care. See you.
Namaste, namaste karam.
Namaste. Okay, bye-bye.
He helped me out a lot in India because I was wandering around alone and I got sick at the Mahakumbhala.
Oh, this was your big.
Yeah,
big
when I
sick-
got really
yeah.
well, I got really sick, spiritually. And he came as soon as he could by the trains, and he came and picked me up, and he take good care of me. He really powerful spirit.
I can tell, very sweet guy.
Yeah, he's 100% kind of guy. So, and he's very young, so he's just learning and growing a lot.
He's 1 year younger than me.
Right, but not by legal
Yeah.
legal definition.
Yeah.
All right, well, Lee, you look pretty tired. You want to take a rest?
Who all's in the chat? Can you guys send a message so I can see who's watching? Hi, Tiger Eating Rabbit. Oh, my Indian brother. OG Shelly.
You want to keep this?
Shewas kinda ugly.
That's Emmanuel.
Oh, and Tiger Eating Rabbit is Katie. Nice to meet you, Katie. You guys find this entertaining, watching this like unfoldment happen of this trip and all that? Guess not. Yeah, it's cool. Oh, nice. Yeah. It's all fun and games, watching it from your side, but then just wait until you're in the actual episode.
It's a once in a lifetime.
Yeah.
Once, it's a miracle that we're even here. It's amazing.
How did we meet? We met through this live stream that you're watching right now.
During the Mongolian graveyard era, right?
I don't recall that.
When do you think it was when you first came across it?
I just remember distinctly you were doing a lot of and you had a cup in your hand.
A cup, eh?
And then you raised the cup up.
And poured it out?
No, you were just sitting. But the cup kind of looked like a trophy cup.
I don't remember that. You sure you're with the right lunatic?
Yeah.
You sure you're with the right spiritual YouTube guy?
No, because when you did that, I also had like a kind of like a deep meditation.
When I held up the cup. Sweet.
No, and also when you're doing I was kind of focusing on your third eye.
Yeah, can you tell them about that experience? Because I was interested when you told me that.
Yeah, I'll share the experience. I don't like to share any kind of spiritual experiences, because sometimes I feel like it's a bit counterproductive or whatnot. But yeah, like I remember when I used to watch Dr. Rob stream and meditate alongside him, and he would do like the you know, I liked hearing that sound because it kind of just replaces your thoughts, and it's not like it kind of just transcends words in English. And you know, there was like a point where he was like doing the and he was just like, I was kind of looking at his eyes and they were going like inwards, and I felt like a slight kind of subtle shift, if you want to call it that, while meditating alongside him. So that's that. That's just a very small experience. But yeah, then from then on I was like, oh wow, this meditation thing, Buddhist monk, seems pretty legit. And now here I am. Yeah, I'm pretty good at pull-ups. I'll do 100 if you do 100 as well. I'm right now practicing for a one-arm pull-up. But also the real strong man here is Dr. Rob. You should see
Let's
his
try again.
arm wrestling skills.
Let's try the arm wrestling.
Very
Well,
strong.
wait, your hands all swollen, right? So
I will give it a go.
it's all right. Okay.
Let's see.
Maybe we'll do some bush wrestling once we get to the outback.
Honestly, I think you win because you also get
Do
that.
what I'm doing. I'll try to do what I'm doing. Oi. Oi.
No, you already got
What do
it.
you want to do?
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Alright.
As you can see, very strong.
Yeah.
He's surprisingly very strong for his diet that consists of snake lollies and little bits of nuts here and there, and half the time he's barely eating anything, less than me.
I'm on a weight loss journey.
So yeah, he's very strong.
Alright. I'm gonna stay here till my phone charges up.
All right.
Listen, everybody, I don't know that this needs to be said, but gay people don't own the rainbow. And, you know, what are you gay? Why do you need to make everything about being gay just because you see the rainbow? And if I was gay, then that'd be fine too, but I'm not gay. So what do you want? Why are you want to talk about so much gay shit? And what's so wrong with shit? The best blueberries you'll ever have in your life will be fertilized by human feces. And they even play kind of like nice music in the showers and the toilets on these speakers in the corners. I'm not a cult leader yet, but I'm gonna do my best to get to that position in my life. I would say I'm a cult aficionado or a cult experiencer, or a cult informed meditation practitioner and sharer. If you go back to the beginning of this live stream, you'll see my favorite yoga pose. So, yeah, it's great. I think it's better than any normal meditation retreat. And I think you get a chance to be more exposed to the teacher in an unconditional way, and more primed to develop community. I was supposed to go to a meditation retreat here in Australia like December 19th or something like that, but I'm not going to do that. Now my tooth is broken, so I'm going to need to get back to Australia. I was actually looking at flights and thinking about it. Not Australia, but Vietnam, where my dentist is, and get some repairs and establish the Monk Life Meditation Institute, which is still in the works, still in development. But it's a big ask, you know? I mean, to get people to do something that's not about something being dangled in front of them. And even that, the opposite of that, like trying to get people to do something that's about them giving and not getting anything back. But you know, from Adelaide to Bali is just like 100 buckaroos. It's a pretty cheap flight. But Adelaide to Perth is like $500. So I don't know how that works, but well, this tooth had already broken or had an abscess, a cavity, and then I was eating some nuts today, and it just popped. The cavity filling popped, so now it's open, but it doesn't hurt. So I was a monk for 7 years, but I'm not a monk now. I'm not a Buddhist monk now. I earn money through donations.
Do you have? Please. Oh, you do.
A lot of monks are gay. But if you look at the traditional guidelines or structure for people becoming monks, like I'll say what it is, you know, I'll be honest, there's a restriction for, they call them pachayas or something like that. But anyway, so if you're a man, this is really going to sound strange to say, but this is the traditional Buddhist records for monks have this in it. If you're a man that enjoys the semen of other men, you cannot ordain, you cannot become a monk. So it's technically, I would say that by a lot of metrics, I mean, I don't know what it's like to be gay, but by a lot of metrics, gay people would not be allowed, gay men would not be allowed to become monks. It would be completely different for women. Women would have a different set of rules. But they have a name for them. And so the question then would become, are these something like pajayas or something? Are these pajayas, is that actually a word for gay people? I'm open to do physical work. I'm just not willing to do the leg work that goes into doing physical work, you know? just arbitrarily or randomly. Because we get enough donations, we have enough support to get by right now, to take care of ourselves, so that's enough for now. And if that changes at some point, then maybe I'll come and work on the farms in Australia. There's no such thing as an average day. Well, we're in Victoria as well, here in Australia, or nearby Victoria. Yeah, that would be a good way to say it, Advaitic Oneness. Could an Uno card game happen at the retreat? It sure could. That's also a fair idea. That's fair. But I've got a very devoted supporter and follower in Perth, so I've got to digest that as well. If the tooth starts hurting, maybe I need to think more about it. But there are some people in Bali as well that I have a meaning to go and interfere with and insult spiritually. Or challenge the consumerism and materialism. If it is only $100 to fly to Bali, that's a heck of a deal. I would say be careful about coming to Australia because they're very concerned, their border forces are very concerned about people coming to make money. So if they get a hold of you and interview you, it's a little bit uncomfortable. And just meditate, just be in a state of awareness, just be with your breathing. Yeah, and that's what I would say, Tasmanian Devil, towards the person who asked why not Advaita Vedanta. I think it's a fine tradition. It's just not a wealthy tradition. It's a fairly structurally shallow tradition, and compared to Buddhism, especially compared to like Chan or Zen, and well, I would just go there and see a dentist and hang out for a little bit, and see some of the spiritual characters that I know are over there, that are interested in having me stop by. Maybe I'll give him a call tonight. But you can think about this. You can do a thought experiment, right? Think about yourself in your own mind. Now think about yourself being thought of by someone else in your own mind. That's fucking dizzying. That'll give you a headache, right? So instead of trying to manage that or describe that or understand that, you just throw out the whole shebang. You stop thinking about yourself in your own mind. And that's what Aditya was talking about service and offering to the others and helping for the others, and how that gives like this space of detachment about yourself, because if you're doing something for someone else, and if you're in a, we believe in ourselves, we believe in other people. So if you're doing something for someone else, that's explicitly not about you. So you're breaking the binds, you're breaking the chains of self-fixation and self-narrative and self-belief. You sure you're going to be okay in that, what's it called?
Swag.
The swag? Okay. Thank you very much, dear.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I might drag it into the bushes, so if you come over and I'm not there, I'm just in the bushes. Yeah.
Okay. Be safe.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for thank you.
What a rich day. Thank you. Thank you. Let's all bow to each other and thank you. Namaste.
Thank you.
Right. Yeah. Well, you have to know how to detach from people. This is why the Buddha says that the children are the greatest suffering in the world. And I was thinking about that because I had a woman who was a friend in Vietnam who was a child, a little boy. You might have seen him if you watched the Kids Kingdom live stream. And his name's Tiger. And he's just a precious boy. He's a little bit fat. His eyes he's got a little bit of a lazy eye. And it's just, how much love, how much affection, how much attachment, how much identity must be put into that child. Even having a child is so much suffering because who knows how it's going to come out. And then these years go by and you've got this little baby that's totally pure and all about you and you're all about them. You constantly are carrying that with you. You know what I mean? You're constantly carrying that with you. And they're so vulnerable and you've got to provide for them forever. So I'd probably, eventually I'd probably love to preferably adopt a baby boy. Or even adopt multiple children, even. But not today. So anyway, the point is that, you see people and people believe in themselves and what they're doing or what they're saying seems to be real or true or whatever. That doesn't mean anything. Even if someone is saying something that's true for them, it doesn't, and even if you believe that that's true in a general sense, true for you, that doesn't mean that that has anything to do with your life or that can be useful for you or that can be beneficial for you. It might just be frivol. You see what I'm saying? You have to know how to look within yourself and find your reality within yourself that's not about places or situations or people or anything. It's just this kind of direct looking, this direct experiencing, this immediacy of looking at directly what's being experienced now. And to thoughts, you say, fuck off. Thoughts are words and phrases. Thoughts are stories. Thoughts are labels. It's like the label egg. An egg isn't an egg. There's no such thing as an egg. It's just that thing that we call egg that tends to look like that. But an egg what we call an egg, that thing doesn't always look like what we would call an egg, such as after it's composted, or when it's an embryo inside of a chicken, or even just being inside of a chicken. So maybe that is what I'll do. Maybe they'll play it safe and go to Bali and see a dentist in the next week or so. We have about a week because Lee is going to go back to her home at the end of the week. So we've got like 5 days together in the bush with the Aboriginal people. And, you know, and then it's open season again. Oh, I'm very at peace with myself, but my life isn't just about myself, you know? And how deeply could I go into peace with myself? I don't know. But that's not my main focus. There's people that I care about, whether they're supporting me or not. You know, they are people. And whether they're, you know, perfectly, you know, acting in this certain kind of way that would make it most ideal or convenient for me to help them, you know, I care about those people just like I would care about children that would happen to be around me. So this idea of me trying to become a Buddha, there is a selfishness to that, isn't there? And anyway, it doesn't work like that, even though I would encourage people to go stay at a monastery, to go ordain, or to take their practice more seriously. But I've kind of already done that. You know, I've kind of pushed myself in that. And I don't think that I necessarily need to be in a rush to try and push myself in that more. I think I need to give myself more space to open and unfold and to be human. And to share, you know, because these meditation retreats can be very, very good and useful exercises, but in terms of actually opening up some wisdom, some unconditional wisdom, I don't know about that, honestly. I think it's one of the best ways to cultivate blessings. But I don't think that it's a fix-all or a real kind of deep, deep solution. And of course, there's a part of myself, I don't want to fucking go to a meditation retreat. I want to relax at the coffee shop and be the fucking teacher guy and make jokes and be with community and see my friendly faces. You know, feel my friends in my mind. Right? And I like that word. I like that blessings word because it points to this. To get rid of not even free will. It's even before the notion of free will because it's before the notion of someone. It's before the notion of control. That's all inclusive, but not bound. And what I'm learning in this retreat as well is just to be more vulnerable, to be more open, to share in a more human way, and to not worry too much about offending people or coming off the wrong way. Because if I can restart and refresh, and you can restart and refresh, then we can tell each other whatever. I mean, I've had some older women in their 60s or something like that, that have, been sending me messages for years or months or years, talking about some kind of discreet romance between us or something like that. And that's fine. I don't, I don't want to harm those people or reject those people because they have this kind of strange perception or idea. It's just a matter of, can we restart and refresh, concerned with sharing and listening? Not even about helping. Caffeine is fine. Especially, we're in different environments, we're in different conditions, so certain medicines or substances or activities allow us to work with those conditions in a meaningful way or in a sustainable way, whereas otherwise we wouldn't be able to. Well, this is the fire in the ice, the fire in the flame. I mean, I've been thinking about that as well, because being a spiritual teacher or a guru, you get into this position where people are really listening to what you say, and really trusting you and taking you at your word. Just when you say, anything. So there's a really great capacity to maybe harm or confuse people. It's probably something like that, and then an additive of recklessness and, because people are really unique. That's what I'm also experiencing on this retreat, is how unique people are and how much they have to offer. Like, I'm thinking about Lee, seeing Lee's house and all these skills that she has as a seamstress, as an entertainer, and all, a second wave turf feminist. Are you kidding me? Talk about lucky. Talk about rare. So there's all these things like that you never know, and you can't know when you're immediately reactive about someone's presence as it relates to your life or your presence or your identity, because there's no room for those differences to be there. You see what I'm saying? So you can't see the wow factor of other people. Look at this. This is pretty cool. Spiritual thing. Aditya wrote this down because we got to leave it and label it for the leaving it here in the kitchen. It says personal crockery with a smiley face. That's pretty cool, huh? And I would say that's a main factor of what I'm doing here is experimental community experiment and work. Getting this kind of experience that can be leveraged in the future, but intuitively and experientially, not because this is really, I mean, if you want to be in community and be on the move and be in the way and create like infrastructure of people supporting each other, and maybe starting a meditation center or even having a meditation environment that is open but also collected in a certain sense. Then you have to have some experience basis for that. Okay, thank you, Emmanuel. Welcome to the team, brother. We wish you were here. Also, there's definitely a kind of momentum when there's more people. There's more, just from what I've experienced, there's more collective energy and like mutual responsibility, and like everybody, there's a collective energy that's going around that gets people more like, what are we gonna do, because there's more people. Here we just have like 3 people, so there's a lot of space for just like zoning out, which I think is also good. But when it's, people who don't have so much experience with Buddhism, or just meeting each other for the first time, like the 3 of us in person, it's really a lot to manage. But this is managing through mindfulness and detachment rather than schedule or some kind of presentation. Yeah, but that's so beneficial. No, we're not rolling a doobie. We don't take intoxicants here. We don't take cannabis. We don't take alcohol here on the Monk Life Meditation Australian Retreat 2025. Doesn't matter if it's a plant. It's intoxicating. So just replace that caravan with your ass, with your metaphorical ass or your allegorical ass. Home is where we park it. Home is where you park it. You are where you are. We're going to see the Aboriginals. We got some smoko. We brought some smoko for the Aboriginals. Sounds really interesting. I'm really looking forward to it. If I smoked weed right now, I'd have a panic attack and some form of schizophrenic meltdown for sure. Maybe, who knows? I'm not going to be smoking any weed, so I'm not going to find out. I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday that we talked about dropping the what if. So no more what if, just this. Can you hear the music? That's just the caravan park playing the cool music. And the sky is gray. Oh, I don't have anything against like CBD. You could possibly use a CBD flower, but it's a it's a tricky road. You got to be careful. But you are going to die. I mean, cannabis is a beautiful, beautiful flower. I'd love to grow cannabis, CBD flower, and tobacco plants fertilized with humanure and blackberries and mangoes and durian and raspberries and blueberries. That's where I'd like to start a meditation center, is a place where could grow a lot of plants. But you don't have to dream. That's the remembering as well. Remembering that you doesn't have to be based in dreaming. And then you is based in direct experiencing or investigating direct experience. And then what you find is not something that should be called you. So you is like an assumption. It's like something made up. It's like something created. It's a notion. It's an idea. It's a belief. It's a religious idea, basically. Maybe we could say it's a tool. It's probably a primitive tool that got out of hand. You and I and self, I'd say. That's how I describe it. And it's very primitive. That's why, the Aboriginals lived for 60,000 years or whatever. They didn't have to make skyscrapers. They didn't have to make massive, complex cities because they were able to live fruitishly as they are. I just don't have much space in my life for the theoretical. For me, that's what being a spiritual teacher is, or a meditation master is. It's the irrelevance of the theoretical. And then the practical is completely found through our willingness to give. And even taking out give, our willingness to share deeply and our willingness to listen deeply. Because then you find out, well, wait a minute. I'm not interested in what this person is really talking about. But you don't know that unless you're really listening. And in the same way, the person who's maybe speaking isn't going to be able to speak to you unless you actually share deeply. Oh yeah, Jim's a king. Did you mention me? Emmanuel, did you guys talk about me? I want to go to a Jim Newman retreat one day. That's right, Tasmanian, you're calling me out. Thank you. And so the weird thing, or the subtle thing, is learning how and being able to say that, but to say that from a place that's not overrun with the thicket of views and the thicket of biases. You see what I'm saying? You can say there's that me, in a thicket of desires or fears or complicated wants. Or you can say that from a place of just saying, there's that me. You see what I'm saying? And if you really see what I'm saying, you'll see that there's no I or me saying it, and there's no you or self hearing it. And then we become more and more confident about this viewless view, and our psychology and our identity can restructure around that. Our lives can restructure around that. And we want to give a shout out to a long time, I wouldn't call them a stalker, but a one-time very big fan.
Birthday today, November 14, 2025.
Jeez, jeez. Okay, let's all enjoy. Let's all enjoy this this happiness. They're tuckered out. They've had a big day.
Hey, it's my birthday today, November 14, 2025. I'm 57.
Happy birthday.
November 14, 2025. Hello, Rob. It's Emma in London. Have a great day. It's watching Rob. That's funny.
A real devotee here. Let's all say happy birthday. Because she sent me this. She sent me a donation for her.
At least $1 million.
Oh, let's go back. For her birthday, she sent me a donation.
Donate to Rob. At least $1 million. If you want Rob happy, you have to donate $1 million.
So, yeah. You know, so this is a part of my philosophy and a part of my way. You just keep giving. It doesn't need to be about someone. Once your giving is about someone, you're excluding all the different someones that people can be. So, there may be many someones in your life, but give beyond someoneness. But the wealth becomes a trap of stinginess, and it defines the world. The wealth of power, the wealth of control, the wealth of pleasure, the wealth of pain avoidance, even the wealth of health. So I don't just, encourage and advocate for giving, for people to donate, because I need to support my life, you know, and because it's enjoyable, right? But it's also, for me, it's the only way to move forward in building community. Full stop. And the fact that I happen to have an affinity, and I have for apparently a very long time, maybe from past lives as well. Like one of the earliest stories that I ever heard about myself as a young child, I'm not trying to make myself out into somebody here, but I don't have a lot of memories of my youth, so this was something that was told to me quite a long time ago, but was just my, as a child, you know, looking at everyone and waving. You know, looking at everyone and trying to connect with everyone. And then even before I had connection with spiritual training or meditation training, I had this idea of like, you know, building community, like posting an ad on Craigslist that said, let's fucking be a group of wanderer people walking around and concerned with spirituality or whatever, you know. So this is just my tendency to community build, and you know, I'm willing to do it in whatever way is accessible and available. It doesn't need to be something that's ideal for me to show up and to try and give and try and, you know, make something happen. But it's also not that I'm attached to trying to make something in particular happen, because I can see the fault of that, and I don't have enough resources to just go around trying to do that anyway. Sure, I'll help you. Give me a call on WhatsApp. We can talk about your situation. I always say that, and I always mean it. I mean, it doesn't mean that I'm gonna be getting off on someone who I don't know, or even someone who's, you know, maybe a halfway follower or a halfway practitioner that's calling me up and saying, you know, Dr. Rob, I need help paying my phone bill or whatever. But that's what it's about. That's what the path is about. Being available to help, being available to serve, being available to surrender, being willing to have a conversation about it. Like this big meme, this big viral news story about people calling churches for baby formula, you know, and the churches say, no way. We have to be so ready to receive that kind of call. And not just that, we have to have a billboard, in a sense, or something that we're opening to and involved with, and in this way where we are ready and prepared to help. But it can't be some idealistic, immature narrative about saving the world, because everybody here could take all their money and go to India and try to help people and build people houses or feed people, and it would all be gone the same day. So it's a kind of maturing of your willingness to give. That's how I would describe the spiritual path, or the path of being a human being that's not controlled by their afflictions. And to give is also to give your body, and to give your mind, and to give your time. You know what I mean? I believe in that. And nobody's ever called me. No, all this time. I've been saying this for a long time. I also said it when I used to do the Discord server and have big group meetings. I always said, you know, if there's anything I can ever do for you, give me a call and let me know. I've never received a call. But I think it's important that we are, as human beings, putting ourselves out there in that way. And for me, I'm putting myself out there in that way, concerned with the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha, enlightenment, questioning, asking, what is enlightenment? What is a Sotapanna? What is the dropping of identity view? What is the fruit of no longer intellectually being able to believe in a self? But it doesn't have anything to do with rejecting pleasure or pain, or liking things or not liking things. So it's like Aditya, he was talking today, just in the live stream about how much clarity or pleasantness he got out of offering, preparing the meal for me and Lee. And, so he made me some avocado toast. But as far as I could tell, there wasn't any butter on it. So I'm a butter guy. If I'm having toast, I want there to be slabs of butter on it, not just avocado. So that's just being human. So it's not about some idealism of what we give being perfect or us receiving something in a perfect way. It's our willingness to receive, and it's our willingness to give, and it's our willingness to not take our identity view of preferences to be so important. Just eat it and let it go. Just receive it and let it go. And also be a human being as much as you can, to be kind and to be, present, to be willing to be kind and to be willing to be present. It's going to take some time to readjust outside of the colonialist mindset that is our ancestry. Be willing to make offerings. And it is very tough. It is very difficult. But that's why we keep being concerned with that and keep being willing to do that. And that doesn't have anything to do with idealism, because now you're dropping back into identity view and you're not concerned with enlightenment. You're not concerned with the path anymore. I don't know. I don't know what that guy's situation was, but it didn't work out. And anyways, I was already, I knew that Lee was going to be out here and Aditya was going to be out here, and I wasn't comfortable bringing him to that. So that's why that didn't work out. And this is more, feminine, feminine focused anyway. There's only so much masculinity that you can put into a car before things go haywire. Especially Western masculinity. Unless you get more experience with situations like this, and then you're more informed. You're ready to do the next one. He can join for the next Australian trip. He can be the full-time sponsor. Why is kind of just like what if. It's like asking what if before. So this is a teaching on dropping what if entirely. So there's no why. There's no explanation. You get an explanation based on your self-sacrifice, based on your vulnerability, based on your generosity. If you have the blessings to get an explanation. But there's no why and there's no what if. If you make a lot of blessings, you make a lot of offerings, then sure, there'll be plenty of what if and why, because you'll be involved. There'll be boots on the ground, so to speak. And we've kind of lost our connection to generosity and making offerings and giving and sharing and cooperating and communicating deeply. That's why it can seem kind of, people have this weird mentality about, get a job, when it comes to making donations or making offerings or whatever. Oh, we're out here in the bush. It's like you go into a community space and you're telling people to make their own food when they're making food, when they're receiving food that someone else has made for them. And it's like, well, the food's already made, man. What do you want me to do about it? It's pretty dark, huh? It's pretty cold, too. I think that's one of the most important things that I feel and that I believe is that we have to be so much more willing to communicate. Concerned with the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. We're not just because you can say something doesn't mean that that's in line with what we're focusing on and what we're talking about here. And then you can actually challenge and you can push and you can bring your depth that's actually concerned with the truth and concerned with enlightenment. You know what I mean? What is enlightenment really? What is selflessness really? How does it relate to interpersonal situations and conditions, Now, if this is a jacuzzi, I'm going to wet my pants. But I don't think that it is. I think it's a freezing cold body of water. So, I don't think I'm going to get into it. Well, it's not cold, but it's not warm either. So I think I'm going to give a break in that. It looks good, though. Triggering people is important as a spiritual teacher, for sure. But it's not about trying to trigger people. It's more like being willing to challenge people's self-view. And you have to be very careful. You have to be very kind. And you have to be vulnerable in your own right. You kind of have to challenge yourself in how you share. And you have to be ready to step back. And sometimes you have to be ready to step all the way back. That's where I'm going to be bunkering down. Well, of course, enlightenment doesn't mean being gay. But those things are not mutually exclusive. Actually, there's a tendency towards effeminate monastics, or maybe they just stand out, because I have a heteronormative view.
Oh, I've exposed myself a lot. I'm very exposed. I don't think it's the time to expose myself any more than I already am. Get me a jacuzzi, get me a hot tub, I'll expose myself a little bit more. So, this is it, everybody. This is where the end is gonna happen tonight. The end of self. Or just going to sleep. You know, someone once said, sleep is the poor man's enlightenment. Maybe they were a sexist. I was a Buddhist monk for 7 years. I was recognized as a meditation master by Sayadaw Utamatara, founder of Tabarwa during the Hanoi first of its kind Theravada Vasa retreat in Hanoi, Vietnam. I'm going to teach you something when I put my foot up your ass, J-Rod. The mirror teaches everything. You're going to be seeing my foot in your ass in the mirror if you don't stop smart alecking. Show some love, guys. Let's get some major donations from males. Let's get some major donations tonight from heteronormative men.
when we said major donations from heteronormative men, we're talking about cash. We're not talking about your opinions or your ideas. J-Rod. Just listen. Just listen. Be constructive with your abstract thoughts or don't bother at all. Saying that generally, I could have some agreement with that. But saying that to someone, I don't agree with that. In this context, in this case. Let's have a bit of a bedtime story together. You have to actually experience stable peacefulness before you attain oneness. You cannot force understanding. People who attain study the path 24 hours a day, never abandoning it for a moment. Even if these people do not gain access to it, every moment of thought is already cultivating practical application. So I'd say that as every moment of thought, because they're studying the path 24 hours a day, because they're concerned with awakening or the ending of suffering 24 hours a day, then even if these people do not gain access to awakening or realization, every moment of their thoughts is already cultivating the practical application, kind of like pressing the restart refresh button. Usually it is said that cultivated practice does not go beyond purification of mind, speech, action, and the six senses. But the Zen way is not necessarily like this. Why? Because Zen concentration is equal to transcendent insight in every moment of thought. Wherever you are, there are naturally no ills. Eventually, one day, the ground of mind becomes thoroughly clear and you attain complete fulfillment. This is called absorption in one practice. So, usually it is said that cultivated practice does not go beyond, so meaning that the practice, the way of practice
is based in and is established in purifying the actions of body, speech, mind, purification of the mind, purification of speech, purification of action, so that it's all not attached, it's all not based in desire, it's all not based in fear. But the Zen way is not necessarily like this, so that the Zen way is not limited to purification of mind, speech, and action and the six senses. Why? Because Zen concentration, Zen here is like cutting through everything, all here and now, transcendental insight, right? Transcendent insight. Zen concentration is equal to transcendent insight in every moment of thought. So transcending past and future, transcending self and other, transcending purification and pollutant. Wherever you are, there are naturally no ills. Eventually, one day, so eventually meaning that this is a process. This is not something that you go to the store and buy. It's not like buying blueberries and then eating them. It's a process. It takes subtle, continuous concern with. And what it concerned with what? Well, you have to take responsibility for your direct experience and what you're concerned with 24 hours a day, moment by moment, breath by breath. That's where the practice is. So eventually, one day, the ground of mind becomes thoroughly clear. So the ground of mind is the same for all of us. It's like our Buddha nature, or it's like our nature as awareness, our self as awareness. That's not based in words and phrases. But it's not clear because there are all these emotions, all these thoughts, all these opinions, all these ideas, all these stories, all these identities, like clouds in the sky, like clouds in the mind, like pollutants in the mind. But the mind ground is free, not tainted, but all these taints are there. So eventually, one day, the ground of mind becomes thoroughly clear and you attain complete fulfillment. This is called absorption in one practice. So now there's no you. There's no one to become enlightened. There's no one who could be sick. There's no one who could be afflicted. And this absorption in one practice is like the totality of your life always as it is already. Immediate, like immediacy. Nowadays, people only work on concentration power and do not open the eye of insight. For them, stories and sayings just become argumentation, unstable mental activity. Zen study is not a small matter. You do not yet need to transcend the Buddhas and surpass the adepts. But once you have attained it, it will not be hard to transcend and surpass them if you wish. And this is kind of a little bedtime poem for all of us to enjoy together. On sitting meditation, the light of mind is reflected in emptiness. Its substance is void of relative or absolute. Golden waves all around. Zen is constant in action or stillness. Thoughts arise, thoughts disappear. Don't try to shut them off. Let them flow spontaneously. What has ever arisen and vanished? When arising and vanishing quiet down, there appears the great Zen master, sitting, reclining, walking around. There's never an interruption. When meditating, why not sit? When sitting, why not meditate? Only when you have understood this way is it called sitting meditation. Who is it that sits? What is meditation? To try to seat it is using Buddha to look for Buddha. Buddha need not be sought. Seeking takes you further away. In sitting, you do not look. In sitting, you do not look at externals. Meditation is not an external art. And so externals here meaning all those stories, all those people, all those situations, all of these experiences that have been accumulated in the mind from outside. In sitting, so they may seem inside, but they're actually just externals. They're just things. In sitting, you do not look at externals. Meditation is not an external art. At first, the mind is noisy and unruly. There is still no choice but to shift it back. That is why there are many methods to teach it quiet observation. When you sit up and gather your spirit, at first it scatters, helter-skelter. Over a period of time, eventually it calms down, opening and freeing the six senses. When the six senses rest a bit, discrimination occurs therein. As soon as discrimination occurs, it seems to produce arising and vanishing. The transformations of arising and vanishing come from manifestations of one's own mind. Put your own mind to use to look back once. Once you've returned, no need to do it again. You wear a halo of light on your head. The spiritual flames leap and shine, unobstructed in any state of mind. All inclusive, all pervasive, birth and death forever cease. A single grain of restorative elixir turns gold into liquid. Acquired pollution of body and mind have no way to get through. Confusion and enlightenment are temporarily explained. Stop discussing opposition and accord. When I think carefully of olden days, when I sat coolly seeking, though it's nothing different, it was quite a mess. You can turn from ordinary mortal to sage in an instant, but no one believes. All over the earth is unclarity. Best be very careful. If it happens, you do not know. Then sit up straight and think. One day you'll bump into it. This I humbly hope. Good night, friends. See you tomorrow with the Aboriginals. Thank you for all your support, all your trust, and all your willingness to share and listen. Take care.